So I started making my testimony video yesterday, and I guess I had like a divine intervention there, and the Lord shut my video down, I guess. It was like 12 minutes into the video, and I, like, went back to, like, childhood and stuff. It was just, I could write a book, literally. And so, like, my video just, like, shut down at 12 minutes, and it said iPhone storage full, and I was like, okay, you're telling me, Lord, that that's not what you want me to talk about. Okay, so I just knew that. Okay, so I had to end that is like he changed my directive at that point. Okay, then, like, he started revealing to me what he wants me to talk about. Okay, so I'm not gonna go back to childhood and give you my whole life story and all that stuff, because really and truly the video would be a mile long. It would be a week long. It would be too long, and that's not what I need to do. I need to make it as short as possible, and I need to like my experience. I had to, like, really had a seriously divine encounter with the Lord Jesus Christ himself in early January 2018, and I'm going to share that experience that was so very amazing, and just it just shook me to the core. Okay, so I'll just kind of give you a little brief summary of, like, my life and kind of where I came from. So, like, I walked with the Lord when I was young. I always knew him from the time I was a child, but because I had troubles in my life, I was abused and different things, and I had a hard time. Jesus spoke about, those that fall away when things come about in their life, in the parable of the sower in Matthew 13. Well, that happened to me. I fell away completely, just totally walked away from the Lord in early January, not 1999, but in 2000. It was exactly 2000. And so I started just totally walking in darkness, drinking, and just acting foolish and all. So anyway, so I did that for several years, and the Lord started calling me back to him in, like, 2016. And so, like, I heard him say, speak to my spirit and say, draw near to me and I will draw near to you. So I did. I started seeking the Lord, and because I had lost my husband and my dad within a month. Like, dad died in December of 2014, and then my husband died in January of 2015, and it was just a hard time for me. So, but I understood later that the Lord was getting me alone with him to get me back on my feet, to get me straightened out and bring me back to him. So I did. So I started seeking him and came back. Okay, so 2017, like, I heard him say, I want you to turn your stereo off, and I want you to just start playing Christian music all the time. And so that was, like, when it began. That was, like, September, I believe. I believe it was September of 2017. And so it was like I started hearing him speak to me on a regular basis again. And I just, like, came up out of this pit of deep depression. It was like he just pulled me up out of it, and it was beautiful. And it literally, the way I felt reminds me of, like, the parable of the prodigal son. So anyway, I'll go ahead and read that to you. It's Matthew 15, beginning verse 11. Then he said, this was Jesus speaking, a certain man had 2 sons, and the younger of them said to his father, Father, give me the portion of goods that falls to me. So he divided to them his livelihood. And not many days after, the younger son gathered all together, journeyed to a far country, and there wasted his possessions with prodigal living. That's what I did. But when he had spent all, there arose a severe famine in that land, and he began to be in want. Then he went and joined himself to a citizen of that country, and he sent him into his fields to feed swine. And he would gladly have filled his stomach with the pods that the swine ate, and no one gave him anything. But when he came to himself, he said, How many of my father's hired servants have bread enough and to spare, and I perish with hunger? I will arise and go to my father, and will say to him, Father, I have sinned against heaven and before you, and I am no longer worthy to be called your son. Make me like one of your hired servants. And he arose and came to his father. But when he was still a great way off, his father saw him and had compassion, and ran and fell on his neck and kissed him. And the son, okay, I'm about to get emotional because this really hits hard with me. And the son said to him, Father, I have sinned against heaven, and in your sight am no longer worthy to be called your son. But the father said to his servants, Bring out the best robe and put it on him, and put a ring on his hand and sandals on his feet. And bring the fatted calf here and kill it, and let us eat and be merry. For this my son was dead and is alive again. He was lost and is found. And they began to be merry. Now his older son was in the field, and as he came and drew near to the house, he heard music and dancing. That reminds me of me and the Lord in 2017 when he literally pulled me up out of that pit, and it was just like, it was so beautiful. I mean, here we are in my home alone in the spirit, and we were literally dancing, and I was just constantly singing, and had just literally lost my mind for Jesus, literally. And it was beautiful. I was on cloud 9, I guess you could say. And it was just the 2 of us. And it was so amazing and beautiful. And literally, everybody around me, my family, they thought I had really totally lost my mind, okay? And I had lost my mind for Jesus. So, anyway. So let's see. I'm gonna finish reading this, and then I'm gonna get back to what happened then after that with my situation. Okay, so let's see. Okay, let me go back to verse 25 again, because I forgot where I stopped at. Now his older brother was in the field, and as he came and drew near to the house, he heard music and dancing. So he had called one of the servants and asked what these things meant, and he said to him, Your brother has come, and because he has received him safe and sound, your father has killed the fatted calf. I mean, here we were partying away, right? Just like, not like partying, but you know what I mean. It was just, we were having a good time, me and the Lord. And so, anyway, so the other son. But he was angry and would not go in. Therefore his father came out and pleaded with him. So he answered and said to his father, Lo, these many years I have been serving you. I never transgressed your commandment at any time, and yet you never gave me a young goat that I might make merry with my friends. But as soon as this son of yours came, who has devoured your livelihood with harlots, you killed the fatted calf for him. And he said to him, Son, you are always with me, and all that I have is yours. It was right that we should make merry and be glad, for your brother was dead and is alive again, and was lost and is found. That was me. I was so lost. I was so lost. Literally, it was just several years of it. Like, when I fell away from the Lord, it was a hard time for me. I had been through some terrible, bad trauma in my life. And when I fell away, it was I just can't hold on anymore, Lord. I'm sorry, but I just have to step away and just go out into the world and just see what's out there. And just, so I did. I did just like the prodigal son. That was me. That really defined my life perfectly. So I became an alcoholic, smoking pot every day to where, like, literally, I was drinking, like, a case of beer a day and getting so drunk that, it was just a miserable life. No life at all. It was just miserable. Just smoking pot every day to where, literally, I could not, like, go a day without smoking pot or drinking. And so, anyway, I mean, what I didn't do, and literally become like a whore of Babylon. I mean, I'm not proud of that at all, but that right there, that term right there defines my behavior years ago. Just became a wicked person, and really just totally fell away from the faith altogether, and just living an idiotic lifestyle. So anyway, so I was tired of that, and when I came back wholeheartedly with full intentions of never walking away again. And he showed up big time. He did a very serious, amazing thing. Unbelievable what he did. Okay, so this is the thing. Like, my family thought I had lost my mind, right? Because here I am now. I am, like, on top of the world, where I had been severely depressed, been diagnosed with bipolar disorder, and, like, some severe anxiety with panic attacks. And that was my life. I was like a dead person before the Lord showed up in this big way like he did in 2017. So here we are, dancing and having a grand old time, me and the Lord. And nobody understood it. Nobody. And so my daughter suggested, Mom, why don't you go, maybe just spend a couple of days at, like, some kind of mental health facility and just get checked out. It's like crazy. But I was like, I don't need to. I don't think you understand. And she didn't, obviously. Here I am, full of joy and happy for the first time literally ever in my whole entire life. And that's the thing. She had never seen me anything but depressed. Literally nothing but depressed, and, living that stupid life. Living to smoke my pot and stuff every day. And so, anyway, so she said, why don't you, go to this place? And just get checked out. So anyway, so I was like, look, I'll go for you, but I don't need to go to no mental health facility, okay? I was like, I am more sane now than I've ever been, ever in my whole entire life. Okay, so anyway, so I agreed to go. So she took me to like an emergency room. I don't know if some of y'all may understand. Maybe you've been in this position before where you've had to, because I actually did have like 2 major nervous breakdowns in like the early 2000s, and had to go into a hospital mental health facility. So I had already experienced that before, like for real, where I needed to go, where I literally did have a nervous breakdown and just became very severely depressed. So anyway, the way they do it is they send you, go through like an emergency room, and they do like a screening and like an evaluation, and they determine whether or not they're going to admit you to some facility or not. So okay, so like that experience was not so pleasant. So I'm at the emergency room, and like the doctor was, like I talked to them and told them that I was fine. I just, my daughter was concerned about me because I had an experience with the Lord Jesus Christ, and they don't understand spiritual things at all, right? At all. So anyway, so they ended up admitting me to a hospital and lying to get me in there, and saying that I told them that I wanted to jump off a bridge, which that was a total lie. Like, the doctor literally said I said that when I did not say that. So anyway, okay, so like that experience, then like they took all my clothes away and like gave me like these paper scrubs to wear. And like they took everything from like my hair tie, like the tie that I had to put my hair up. They took that away, took everything I owned away, and just gave me these paper clothes and those little socks with the little things on the little pads on the bottom of them. And so anyway, so here I am wearing these napkin clothing. That's what it was like napkin material. And so they said, okay, we're going to send you to this facility. And so they involuntarily committed me against my will. Like, not where I voluntarily did, where like they did. So like they sent me, what I mean. So anyway, so as they were, like, they had to, like, an officer had to take me to the actual facility, like the mental health facility, and so anyway, so like he said, okay, I have to put handcuffs on you and shackles on your feet, and you have to ride in a police car to go there in the back seat. So I was like going to jail. It was like going to jail, and it was not pleasant at all. And so I started crying when he told me he was going to have to handcuff my hand, put my hands behind my back, and shackles on my feet. And I was very upset. And he said, if you don't stop crying, I'll just take you to jail. I mean, he was really not nice to me at all either. So here I am trying to suck it up, not cry no more, because, I was scared at that point. I didn't even want to go to that place anyway, but I agreed to go because my daughter was concerned about me, and I just went for her. Literally, I didn't need to go. There was nothing crazy about me. I was more sane at that moment than I had ever been in my whole entire life. Okay, so anyway, so we get to the facility, and it was exactly 3 a.m. Okay, this was early January of 2018, and And it was like the Lord and I had been spending 2 months together in the secret place. And whoa, like I said, it was beautiful. It was beautiful. It was literally like this, like the father and the prodigal son reunion. You know, it was beautiful. It was like so beautiful. Because when I fell away, it was in early January of 2000. So I had been away from the Lord for 18 years. And here we have this beautiful reunion where we're literally dancing and just me just worshiping and just singing to him constantly and talking to him constantly and me hearing him very well in the spirit, not audibly. So, anyway, all right, so I get to the facility and this is where it gets good because I'm literally not understanding this whole situation and was really scared and upset about it because it just was, not what I expected. And so I get there and there's this man that checks me in. He's very tall, dark skin, like olive skin, short, pretty black hair, and glasses. Kind of like the way he was like kind of mysterious and kind of reminded me of like Clark Kent, like you've got like Superman and then you've got like Clark Kent, like there were like two different identities. So, the Clark Kent is like he's in disguise, but he's really Superman, right? And so the guy at the hospital, he's like I don't know what you call him, like an attendant or whatever that, an assistant, an aide or whatever. Well, anyway, so he's the one that wrote up my paper, did my paperwork and stuff when I first got there and checked me in. And, like, gave me, like, a bag lunch and, because I had not eaten for several hours, and gave me some real scrubs to wear, the cloth kind, and not paper, so I actually had something to put on besides paper clothing. And so, anyway, so it was just the two of us sitting there and just doing my screening and all, like just some paperwork, and so then I went to bed, but it was weird because I had already felt like this deja vu at the other hospital. It was like when my daughter and I came in that hospital, and I had never been to that hospital before, ever in my whole entire life. But like, it was like, there were people that looked familiar, and it was weird, and I felt like I was in the Twilight Zone before I ever got to the mental place, the mental hospital. And so the guy at the mental hospital looked familiar to me, and I knew I'd never seen him before. I knew I hadn't, but he looked familiar, like I'd seen him. Like if you pass somebody somewhere or something, and then you see him again, you're like, okay, I don't know where I've seen you before, but I know I've seen you before. So anyway, so I went to sleep, and then I got up that morning, and, well, that guy, like, he was on the night shift with, some other people. They, like a crew of people that worked at night. Okay, so, anyway, so, I didn't see him again after I went to sleep until, like, 6 p.m. that night when he came back to work. So, anyway, so that experience was crazy, too. Like, these people, the daytime shift people would be, like, throwing me in isolation rooms because I was constantly singing and talking about Jesus, and they were like, you need to stop that because you're going to cause somebody to have some kind of episode or something. It's like, they didn't want me talking about Jesus at all, and that's all I wanted to do was just sing and talk about Jesus because I was literally on top of the world. And so, anyway, so that whole experience was really unusual. And, okay, so, like, there were people, like, there were ladies that were in this facility. There was 12 of us on this, like, unit where I was. And it's like me and 11 other women. And we all had the same color eyes, which was really weird because, like, I have like blue-green eyes. Blue-green with a little gray in my eyes. And so, like, we all had the same color eyes, different variations of blue-green, but we all had the same blue-green eyes. I mean, that's kind of rare, right? Like, you go somewhere and you're with 11 other people and you all have the same kind of color eyes. That's odd. so, like, I was already feeling like I was in the Twilight Zone with everything I'd been through, right? So, excuse me. So anyway, alright. So, alright. Sorry. I need to get a drink of water. Give me just 1 second. My throat's getting a little scratchy. Bear with me, because this is going to get good. Okay. So, okay. So there was that situation with all of us ladies having the same eyes. Even a black woman who had those same eyes. Hers were like this aquamarine. I mean, just beautiful. Anyway, and so, like, you know, like I said, there were people there that looked familiar, and I had never been there before. So there was no way I knew these people. And this place is literally an hour away from my house. There's no way I knew these people. Okay. So back to the guy. So, like, he came back on every night at like 6 p.m. with the other people on his crew. Okay, so anyway, so, like, I thought he looked familiar. So, like, I would be, like, talking to him, and he was very tall. Very, very tall. Big and tall. And, like, I'd be standing there talking. Like, all of us, you know, would be kind of socializing with that group, because they were very cool. Those night shift people were awesome. They were really nice people. It was those day shift people. They were a bunch of narcissists. They were not very nice. That's the ones that were throwing me in isolation for talking about Jesus and stuff. But at night, they were chill, very chill. Okay, so, anyway, so, like, I asked him questions and stuff, you know, like, I feel like I've seen you before. And so I was like, where, like, have you worked before and stuff like that? And he was like, I don't remember anyway, so, like, we didn't get into all that. But, like, it was like I knew him, but I couldn't grasp where I had seen him. Okay, so anyway, so, like, he just kind of smiled and was like, really? Well, I mean, like, how you think you know me and all? You know, it's just crazy. So, anyway, alright, so, like, so I was there for, like, I'm just going to try to finish this up, because I need to get into, like, the things that the Lord has brought me out of. Like, the things He has delivered me from and stuff, because I really could, like I said, I could make this video a week long. Literally, it could just go on and on. I could write a book, but I can't do that. So, anyway. So, like, the 6th day in this facility, the food was bad, and I was having a bad day that day because I had to go to bed. I was going to have to go to bed hungry because the food was that bad that I couldn't even eat it. So I went to sleep. Before I went to sleep, I was praying and asking the Lord if He could change that situation to make the food taste better, make it better food. So literally, like, I got up the next morning, which was my last day there, or the day before my last day. I was there a week. They kept me all that long for no reason, really. And so I get up the next morning, and He answered that prayer. I got up to a mega breakfast. I'm like a restaurant. I mean, like, bacon, eggs, and like toast and grits and pancakes and you name it, fruit and juice, and it was just amazing. Okay, and then lunch was just as good as like the breakfast, and I was like grinning from ear to ear because I knew he answered that prayer. I absolutely knew he did. So then the young man, he came in on his shift, and he comes in rolling this cart, a little hospital cart, with these snacks on it, and like fruit punch and Sprite. I'm like, really, really cheesing from ear to ear. Like, I'm like, wow. Like, I'm thinking, God, you really did it good, big time this time. So he literally went all out and really answered that prayer. But so the man is like pushing this cart, coming in on his shift with the others that worked with him, with that, all that goodies, something we did not have. That was not a regular thing in that place. We had, because like I had been having only juice and water to drink and milk. And so, like, I was really wanting something good to drink too. That Sprite and um, that fruit punch was just really what I wanted, you know. Okay, so I looked at him and was just smiling when he's coming in with that cart, you know, just really just in my mind thanking God for that, because I was like, that's phenomenal. You did that, and I know you did. So anyway, so like he's walking by, and I'm like, wow, thank you, that's amazing. He said, he said, you can have some of this after I get your vital signs, because that was like, you know, the procedure for when they came in on their shift. They did our vital signs for the evening, and like for, you know, for the beginning of their shift. Okay, so anyway, so he comes over and sits down in front of me at the little table I was sitting at, and puts the cuff on my arm, and I'm sitting there just smiling from ear to ear because I'm just like so happy over the snacks, because that was a big deal to me. And anyway, so I said, thank you so much for that, for the snacks. Like, I said, really, that right there was something I really, really was wanting. And he's putting the cuff on my arm, and he looks me in the eyes, and he says, I just want to make you happy. Like, what? That was, and I knew who he was instantly at that moment when he says, I just want to make you happy. Like, what? Like, this guy's like in his early 20s, mid 20s, and this Clark Kent mysterious looking guy. And it's like, you know, he didn't know me. You know what I'm saying? Why is this guy talking to this mental patient like that? It's like, you know, you don't get that when you go somewhere like that. You got some person, a staff member, telling somebody they just want to make them happy. That was the King of Kings right there, okay? I had a divine encounter, face to face, in person, with the King of Kings, okay? This is the most amazing thing that he's ever did. I mean, besides the fact that he died for us, you know, he literally showed up big time. So anyway, so then really after I left from that place, like the next day, I guess it was, before he came in on his next shift, like, but like when I knew who he was, it was this boom, I knew his face then. I knew where I had seen him before. He came to me in a dream in like 1998, literally like within like a year before I backslid. He came to me. The most beautiful dream. And it was literally like we were walking together in a park and holding hands, and I'm like just in awe of him, knowing that he was my best friend, and all I wanted to do was just listen to him talk and just not speak, because I was into everything that he was saying in that dream, and I don't even remember nothing he said. But I just wanted to look at him and listen to him. and he was enormous in the dream. He was so big and tall. It's like in the spirit, he's like 9 foot tall in the spirit. And in person, he's 6'7". Okay, he's a big, tall man. He's big. He's great, big, tall. And handsome, too. Very handsome. Okay, so anyway, so after that, I totally was sold out to him. Totally, I go home and we're back to what it was like before I went to that facility, in the spirit, just dancing and singing to him and just having a beautiful time with the Lord alone here. And anyway, so it was that moment when he really, I just decided, I'm going to live for you now. I'm going to forsake all my old ways, and I just want to live in a way that's pleasing to you. And just whatever it takes. So, like I at that point, I decided that I was totally going to change my life and never look back. And I haven't either. I have not ever looked back. So anyway, so he has brought me a long way. He has helped me overcome, like, drinking, alcohol, smoking cigarettes, which I was like that one that would wake up in the morning and not even get out of bed and light a cigarette. I mean, literally, I was that person that wanted to smoke constantly, a pack to 2 packs of cigarettes a day. I had a pot smoking habit down from the very depths of hell, where I was literally having to smoke pot to where, like, it was like I could try to make myself wait until lunchtime every day to smoke a joint, but I had to have it. I had to have it and had to, and I would stay awake all night long smoking pot. Literally, it was just ridiculous. But he helped me overcome all that, and he totally changed my life. And so, like, he helped me clean my mouth up to where I was a cusser and would, say inappropriate stuff. And he just totally changed me and cleaned me up for the better. And so has just totally done a complete 360 on me and just totally turned my whole entire life around and upside down and all. And so, anyway, so that right there was what he stopped that video yesterday for, because he wanted to change my direction, and he wanted me to tell you about my experience with him when I saw him in early January. I don't understand. Is he literally here somewhere? I don't know. Literally, I don't know. Like, I don't get answers like that from him, you know what I'm saying? So, I don't know. I just know he did that for me. Just for me. That whole experience was just for me. Like, he went to work at that place a few months before I went there. Literally, it was just a short assignment for him. Just for me. Literally, like, he goes before us, right? He literally went there before I went there. And he's the only one that would know. He wasn't the devil. It wasn't the devil. Yeah, I've had a hard time wanting to tell this story to people because of the fact that people will say, yeah, that was the devil. No, the devil did not know that I was going to go there months before I went there. Only the Lord knew that. And I can tell you right now, he was an awesome guy. That wasn't the devil. And the devil wouldn't have wanted me to have that good food and stuff. He answered prayers while I was in that place. So anyway, I've had a hard time wanting to tell that story, but I'm telling you, I love to talk about it because it's one of the most amazing things that has ever happened to me. So anyway, I'm so happy I got to share that experience. But this is the thing. It's like, okay, so, like, I just, like I said, I just decided. I mean, I could go on and tell you like a lot of things, but I'm not going to. So, like, okay, like I have a couple scriptures, like what we're supposed to kind of become like. We're supposed to become like Christ, right? That's the thing, is to get on the narrow path. We want to become more like Christ. So, in nature, and so like that's kind of where I've been changing my life, and he's totally taken away all those things of the flesh that defiled me, all those things that made me the person that was a worldly person. He has taken all that away, cleaned me up, and just absolutely clothed me in his righteousness. So like I had this like word, like name I wanted to call this my message, and it's like from the gutter to his glory. That's kind of where I came from the gutter, where I literally was in the gutter. I was just yeah, I was in the gutter, and he brought me up out of that and cleaned me up, and for his glory, not mine, but his own glory, because that's what he does. He does it for himself. So like James 1, this right here come to mind, verses 26 and 27. If anyone among you thinks he is religious and does not bridle his tongue, but deceives his own heart, this one's religion is useless. Pure and undefiled religion before God and the Father is this: to visit orphans and widows in their trouble, and to keep oneself unspotted from the world. That's kind of like the way I try to pattern my life after. I do try to like take care of the poor and the orphans and widows and such, and definitely keep myself unspotted from this world. Like, I'm not interested in partying and none of that, like being friends with worldly people. I'm not interested in none of that. Like, where I used to be like that, that does not define me anymore. I am totally in absolutely 100,000% sold out to the Lord, and I just want to do his will. It's all about him now. My life is totally different. And so anyway, let's see, there was a scripture he gave me, something else he gave me a little while ago. Okay, Colossians 1. Let me read this. It was verse 20 that he led me to, but I think it goes back. Okay, so this is Jesus being reconciled in Christ. Colossians 1, verse 19. For it pleased the Father that in him all the fullness should dwell, and by him to reconcile all things to himself, by him, whether things on earth or things in heaven, having made peace through the blood of his cross. And you who once were alienated and enemies in your mind by wicked works, yet now he has reconciled in the body of his flesh through death, to present you holy and blameless and above reproach in his sight. If indeed you continue in the faith, grounded and steadfast, and are not moved away from the hope of the gospel which you heard, which was preached to every creature under heaven, for which I, Paul, became a minister. So anyway, that's just it. I just want to be more like Christ, and I want to make him happy and pleased with me, and I want to be spotless and blameless when he comes, and that's where I'm at now. I'm on the narrow path, where I was on that broad path of destruction headed for hell, and he took me off that path and set me on the narrow path where I am now, and I thank him for that. So anyway, I hope this message encouraged you to want to follow Christ, because he is the bomb, I'm telling you. What he did for I am still in the clouds on that situation and what he did for me, and early 2018. It was just the most amazing thing ever. But I gotta end this because this is too long. This video ended up too long. But anyway, I hope this truly blessed you, and thank you so much for listening, and God bless you.